Yeah, so as Anna mentioned, thank you very much for that introduction. I am in marketing and BD, business development in Royale Wealth. So I do a lot of stuff because it's a small company. I work directly with my boss, the CEO. So I do marketing, branding, business development, and I sort of try to understand what's going on with this calendar. And a lot of people have told me, you do so much. Like, are you sure you're being paid enough? Don't you want to complain and take it up to, the boss or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I can see it that way, but I can see it another way, that I have the opportunity to learn so much. Like, I'm cool with marketing, I love it. But business development, that's really stepping out of my comfort zone. I don't like it, but I'm starting to like it because I get to learn so much more about it. And when I say learning, that is a little bit about what I like to share with all of you today. Um, so let's see. What? Oh yeah, so I should have actually gone to this slide earlier, but that's pretty much an outline of what I'm going to talk about. But knowing me, I'll probably deviate from
Good on
from
you.
all this.
Oh, good.
I'm very disorganized.
Is that really you?
Yeah.
Not enough color. So, and what I want to share with you today is something that is really simple, but it's not original. You've probably all heard about it before, but we can walk out the door today developing this mindset. And this mindset is the learning and wealth growing mindset. Yes, I work for a financial planning company. I'm not going to ask you to invest or buy anything. And when I say wealth, it has more to do than just money, right? And I sort of put it in a little diagram like this. It's super simple. Learning and wealth growing, they're intertwined because when you want to grow your wealth, you cannot do that until you learn how to. And it's a process that takes years, right? And what exactly is it? The learning and wealth growing mindset means always learning to grow our wealth so that we can enjoy a secure and more comfortable life. It's about thinking beyond today and taking action for a better tomorrow. Right? And how the hell did I come to this? Right? It's because I'm a workaholic. I'm a very high functioning individual, and I'm a bit sick today because I had a really intense week. Yeah, share your story. Well, my background is quite interesting. I was a journalist before. I worked in Malaysia, where I'm originally from. I was doing very well there. I worked for some of the top English newspapers in the country, and I made it up to senior journalism and all that. And then I got married, and then migrated to Melbourne 9 years ago, and I got a bit bored and restless, doing journalism and editorial. So my husband said, "Why don't you start a business?" Okay, I don't have any business training. I don't have any degree in business thing or whatever you call it. I don't know how to call it. But I knew what I like to do. I like to hand draw. I love color. If you haven't noticed by now, I love being active. I like exercising. I like wearing active wear. So I'm like, yeah, why not? So I created my own brand called Lady Bold. You can check it out, ladybold.com. You need some sunglasses when you get there. And it was great. I started designing, learning so much more than just writing. It was creating my own website, copywriting, social media marketing, content marketing, blog writing, setting up an expos, talking to customers, please buy my stuff. And just learning about how to develop nothing into something, right? And it was amazing because this was really an experience that no university can teach you. But I worked really hard, and I went on to pitch to the media to give me publicity because I knew that it was going to be fast tracking my way to reach profit, right? It's all about money, yeah? And so I did. In 5 months, I broke even and I profited, and it went back into the business. So people thought I was like raining, right? But I'll just show you the reality of what really happened behind the scenes. That's me in our small little apartment in South Yarra at that time, packing my stuff, all the stock and stuff. And there's a lot of my pajamas there. And this was a day before a market. So I had to ensure that everything looked good, everything looked fine. I was cutting the labels. And what was really going through my mind was, why am I doing this again? Why am I doing this again? So it's about finding my why and this and that. But trust me, at that state of mind, you're not looking for your why. You're just like, I gotta make money. Okay. So this was my market preparation the day before. And that was a pretty typical market setup for me. This was in Federation Square. And I did markets maybe once every 2 weekends. So it was a lot of work. It was 10 hours there, repeating about my product to people. It was like a broken record for me. But it was really hard work. And as you know, as business owners, people don't see behind the scenes of all your efforts. They only see the outcome. And they're like, oh, it's easy. They think you have it easy. And you're like, I'm going to kill you, But no, this was great. So I did this for 2 years. My last expo was Sexpo. Have any of you been at Sexpo before?
No, we can put our hands up to that.
So let's just say that what is seen cannot be unseen, okay? Very interesting exhibitors, front, right, left, center in front of me. So that was my last expo because it was 4 days of just really intense work. I didn't hire anyone to do anything for me. It was just me running the business, me doing everything behind the scenes. At the end of that, I got sick. And then I think about a month later, I got pregnant. How convenient! And I was like, okay, you know what? I need to scale this down a little bit, focus on bringing up my kid. And so I did that. But while being pregnant, giving birth, and all the breastfeeding and stuff, oh my God, we forgot. Like, time just went by so fast. I'm like, you know, if I could grow my business successfully through marketing, through business development, and through hustling, of course, I can also help other small businesses do the same. And so I did that. After my son was around 1.5 or 2, I started contracting for other small businesses and helping them in the same way as I did with my business. And it was pretty good. I'm not even following my notes, you know.
You're doing great.
Yeah, so that was my involvement, and it was a lot of learning along the way. But in terms of that wealth growth thing, it didn't even occur to me at all. How it occurred to me was pre-COVID, 2019 December. We didn't see it coming. We just had the really hot days and bushfires and things like that. But to us, it was going to be another fantastic holiday. My parents were going to come over from Malaysia. My mom was going to see my son, the one and only grandson. Cool. So she was packing her bags, and then 2 to 3 weeks after that, she calls me and she says, I can't come to Melbourne. I said, why? I've been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer that spread to the lungs. Just like that. And me trying to think positive and, you know, optimistic, I was like, this is just another cancer. You know, my mom had breast cancer in 2006. She will survive this. She went through chemo, radiation. This is another hiccup. And I said, she will come to Melbourne when she gets better because she's going under chemotherapy. January 2020, my auntie calls my mom's sister and says, your mom can't come to Melbourne because her treatment's not getting better. You better come back and see her. So me thinking again, yeah, I'll go back. I'll make her better, and then she'll come back to Melbourne to see me when she gets better. So I went back to Malaysia. But when I saw my mom, I was in extreme shock and disbelief. So my mom is someone who's even more colorful than me. That's not a joke, it's serious. Yeah, I mean, like, she's really like, she walks into the room here, you will see her, even if your back is turned. She's got a very strong, contagious energy, yeah. But when I came back and I saw her, she was lying there on the bed, bedridden, in her pajamas. Her legs were swollen, she couldn't walk anymore. She had tubes in her nose. And I was just shocked, you know. The next day, it hit me really hard, and I felt sick, and I started vomiting everywhere. But it's okay. I thought, you know, I'm going to be here for 6 weeks. I'm going to be the hero. I'm going to find every single herb and, you know, all that to make her better. And she sort of did look like she was getting better in terms of her spirit, her attitude, but physicality, she couldn't walk anymore. But we couldn't stay for long in Malaysia, so we came back to Melbourne, and it was March 2020 when we came back. And 12 days after that, my mom's health went down and she passed away. One day after that was the lockdown. So I couldn't go back for my mom's funeral. I'm sure that every one of us here has had a tough point in their lives, right? But this was mine. So we went into lockdown. It was quiet. Everyone was depressed, angry, frustrated, watching Daniel Andrews on the TV every day. And then I went into deep reflection. I was thinking, what the hell am I doing this for? Why am I working so hard for? Yes, my contracting business. By the way, my marketing business is KarinaFru.com. Not I'm doing shameless plugs here. I was like, what am I doing this for? You know, what is the meaning of life essentially? I could be gone tomorrow. We didn't expect my mom to pass away within 3 months of a diagnosis, just like that. So what am I doing today to make sure that I'm really living the life I want tomorrow, to leave that legacy for my son? And this is where I sort of came up with this. So right now we're all business owners. We're working really hard in the business. Today we had Shito talking to us about numbers, Beth talking to us about systems and processes, and then obviously a mindset. But that's the white part, our business, our work. But what really constitutes our whole life is hobbies, friends, family, holidays, activities. You know, what else matters to you in your life? Anyone? What else that's not mentioned here?
Me.
You, of course. You. And as Anna mentioned just now, is the bigger piece of the pie. Your business is just a slice, right? But we're looking at the whole pie here. And so it occurred to me that my husband, who's quite financially savvy, he always tells me about building wealth, growing my finances, blah, 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 just empty noise, going in one ear out the other. And I'm already talking about, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. And I just slowly realized that I needed to have a mindset shift, because if I continue this way, I'll probably get burnt out, or I probably would live my life full of regrets, right? Because I lived in the now, I didn't think about the future. So before I go on a little bit about this, can I have a show of hands here if you know someone, or if you observe some people who seem to have it all together? They look good, they wear nice clothes, they got a nice car, they got a nice house, they don't seem to be stressed. I know. Yeah, okay. So we all would love to hate them, but perhaps there's something that they know that the rest of us don't know, right? And I would think it's the 80%, 20%, and we all know the 80%, 20% in work productivity. It's we put in 20% of the work, hopefully to get 80% of the results, or the income, or the profit. But in this case, it's the majority mindset. So 80% of us have this so-called poverty mindset, which is, I'll work for the money, and then I'll retire with my superannuation, and my pension should be enough, right? The truth is that 90% of Australians will not have enough when they retire. I mean, they will have enough, but they might not have enough to live comfortably, to live the life of choice, live the life of their dreams. Whereas the 20%, the wealthy, they've got a wealthy mindset, and they know the wealth game and how to build wealth. Whereas the rest of us, the 80%, we already have a very negative attitude to money. I can't afford that, I'm broke all the time, ha ha ha. And we even have this really bad sense of humor about it. The problem is that if we think that we're going to be broke all the time, if we think we're going to not have enough funds, then we will always be broke. The law of attraction, you are what you think you are. Yeah, you will become what you believe you will become. So now it's like, okay, Karina, you're talking hocus pocus here. What is this wealth growing thing, you know? And I came up, or I've heard a lot about wealth growing, but I came up with a little formula that I heard from someone. And it's really simple. If we can adopt this in our everyday life to help us take that one step towards building the wealth that we want, then I think this will be really, really helpful. So the wealth formula is our income minus our expenses equals our savings and investments. So income could be salary, your business income, side hustles, whatever they may be, minus your expenses. You've got bills to pay, we've got school activities to pay for, swimming classes, gymnastics, and all that. And what's left at the end should go to savings and then investments. Most of us only stop at the savings, but we don't think about investments, because investing has risk, of course, right? And this is my mentality, and I'm starting to shift a little bit more to understanding how to invest. I'm not gonna tell you what to invest in. I have no position to say or represent any product. But yeah, just letting you know that I'm not selling any MLM or some bogus scheme here, okay? But what I can say is, when you save money strategically. You cannot save money and expect you to, when you save money, saving money doesn't build you wealth. There are only 3 reasons why you should save. The first is for an emergency fund. So if you have 3 to 6 months of money in your bank account, in case anything happens, touch wood, you can't do your business anymore, or a medical emergency happens, and at least you're good for that 3 to 6 months. The second reason you should save is if you need to buy something. Need, not want. So that doesn't include the Gucci handbag, country road jacket. Looking at you for that. She likes her jackets. So you need it. So say if your car broke down, you need to buy a new one, or your TV broke down, you need to buy a new one, things like that. The third reason you should save is to invest, and even that should be done strategically. So my personal goal is to save enough to buy my first investment property by December or January next year. And I'm already hitting that goal. But for the rest of us, I would think that if you really want to understand how to invest or what to invest in, what your risk tolerance is, depending on who you're whether you have dependents or not, or what would really maximize your income, then you need to speak to a financial planner, because I can't give you that advice at all. So that's for me. And when I say wealth, you notice how I never said anything about being rich, because being rich means you can be rich today, but you can be poor tomorrow. Because say you invested in some stocks, the share price went down, kaputs, you're gone. But wealth means the ability to not trade your time for money anymore, to do what you want to do. So that's what I'm talking about wealth. Just have a little look at this. So let's assume that in 5 to 10 years I hit my personal goal. I'm 50 and I've retired because I have 4 or 5 properties in my portfolio. What happens after that? I won't be here forever, right? So this is where my husband and I have to think about estate planning, our wills, our trusts, power of attorney, whatever's required. Lawyers will tell you. And what kind of legacy do we want to leave for our son? Because life is going to get tougher, and yes, he needs to go through his struggles as well, but as parents, we want him to live, we want to make it a bit more comfortable for him. So do we leave our property for him as leverage so that he can build equity to then invest in more property and build wealth for himself and his family? Or do we sell off the property and give him the cash? Whatever, we haven't actually come to that yet, but I'm just saying that these things, estate planning, is important. A lot of us don't like to talk about estate planning because it involves the conversation of death. Yeah. But they'll say in life there's 2 things that are certain: it's death and
Taxes.
That's right. Just speaking about language. Yeah. So if there's anything that you can take away today from my little story and presentation on how we can start to develop that wealth growing mindset, pivot that needle from the 80% to the 20%. I'll admit that my needle is still somewhere in between, but it helps that I'm working for a financial planning company because the influence is very strong. These are the 3 things you can do today to develop that mindset. Number 1 is keep learning. Like, I am not a finance person, but I dedicate around 10 to 15 minutes a day to at least watch a video or read an article. And I've been working for Royale Wealth for the last 3 months, and I've been doing this every day, and I can tell you I feel a lot smarter now. I can actually sort of understand all your lingo and your jargon, or in some cases I pretend to understand. But it's cumulative. We never stop learning. As long as we wake up every day, there's an opportunity for us to learn. The second thing is keep networking. So groups like this, and me being part of a group like this can help me get from here to there, wealth growing, faster and more efficiently. And the third is don't be afraid to ask questions to the experts. And this is not just, say, asking Sheetal about accountancy and numbers, but say if you want to lose weight, and get more fit, pick a friend or somebody that you know who has a good workout routine, who's fit, who's always on the go, always on the ball. Ask them how they do it, and then you can adopt that, and then create a workout routine for yourself. Because health, when I say building wealth, yes, but wealth also includes health, because you cannot enjoy your wealth if you don't have health, right? And obviously, if you do want to build wealth and see how you can optimize the current finances that you have to make your money work harder for you, then come and talk to the financial planners in my company, or another financial planner in another company, it's up to you. You can do your due diligence, but we give you a free financial health check with no obligation. So if you don't like his face, then he won't be offended. He's quite handsome anyway. So I'm just gonna leave with this. Have you played? We all know the game of Monopoly, right? Imagine playing Monopoly but never investing to generate passive income. Imagine you just went around collecting $200, giving your money to the rich, and staying out of jail. That's how most of us live our lives.